What are 3 things one can do to add positivity and optimism in their life? So it's quite interesting. I recently finished a book called Positivity Bias, and there's an entire chapter called 10 Commandments for Designing a Positive Life of Positivity. I'll share with you just a few. One comes to us by way of a story of a British business person who came to see the Rebbe at some point, and he was quite depressed and miserable. He had a bit of a pessimistic personality. And at one point, after trying to encourage this man to engage more positively with life, the Rebbe says, I'd like you to look for more positive company. Try to find people in your life that are more positive. And I think this is a very powerful idea. It's being very conscious about how you curate your social circle. There are people who we engage with, and maybe in the moment we enjoy their company, but when we leave that meeting, that encounter, that coffee, we feel low, we feel small. We feel ugly inside. Maybe we engage in gossip, maybe we engage in negativity, whatever it may have been that person brings out in us. When we leave that encounter and we look back on it, it doesn't make us feel like our best self. If you're involved with such people and these are the interactions you're having, I would encourage you to rethink that friendship, rethink that relationship. I think what the Rebbe was trying to tell this individual is, you are a product of your social circle. You are a product of your environment. If you look for it and you discover and you make a point of immersing yourself in a positive and joyful and optimistic culture, that will inevitably rub off on you and make you a more positive and optimistic individual. And so I encourage you to go through your phone list. And you can go person to person and ask yourself, when I leave a meeting with this individual, do I feel uplifted? Do I feel stronger, more empowered? Do I feel good about myself? Am I encouraged in this person's presence to be my best self? If so, that's a perfect relationship. Make more time to see that person more often. If the opposite is true, try to see them less. You will see within a short period of time, your entire day-to-day mindset, mood, all of that will change for the better. A second point. The reality is that today we're bombarded by media, by news, social media, and so forth, and a very large percentage of it is negative. The fact of the matter is that the news presents the things that are most shocking, that are most traumatic, that are most worrisome, and that really raises the stress levels, and it's really unhealthy. And it also skews one's perspective on reality itself. Because, for example, I don't know if you know this, but last year, 40 million planes landed safely. Very few planes didn't. And yet, if I were to ask you about the plane industry, people who didn't know the first fact would say, oh, it's getting worse, it's getting out of hand, the planes are dropping, they're going missing, what's happening? And that's because your focus, your frame, is focused on negative news rather than positive news. So make a point of engaging with positive news, with positive books, positive thinkers. Watch debates, watch lectures by some of the great minds of this generation that are talking about the tremendous advances and progress our world is making. This will give you a more balanced and healthy and contextualized reality. And of course, without a doubt, it will raise your optimism levels and it will ensure that you recognize the truth of the matter, which is that we live in unprecedentedly good times. And the third thing I would say is develop a deep and authentic relationship with God. Because the fact of the matter is that very often our love is measured, our love for ourselves is very conditional. The Western world in which we live on places great value on outer success rather than inner value. And therefore I think it's essential to at least have a part of your inner world, a part of your life, deeply rooted in and connected to Hashem, to the one presence in your life that doesn't judge you, doesn't evaluate you, doesn't measure you up, but accepts you, embraces you as you are. And if you internalize that idea, it's truly liberating, it's empowering, and if you take it a step further, birth is God's way of saying you matter. Or in the words of Rabbi Nachman of Breslov, your birth, the day you were born, is the day God decided that the world could not exist without you. If you can internalize those ideas, you have a place to go to at any given time that can truly fuel a tremendous sense of self-worth and positivity and optimism, because you're here for a reason and you can rededicate yourself to that purpose.